You're watching WTVD Channel 11. From across the heart of Carolina, this is WTVD 11 News. With George Mellet, the exclusive AccuWeather forecast with Chris Homan, and all the latest sports with Dwayne Ballin. Now, WTVD 11 News Night Watch.
Good evening. As many of you are already aware, this has been a very bad weekend for WTVD. Early yesterday morning, Chopper 11 crashed, killing 3 of our best. Tonight, we're coming to terms with our loss, even as federal investigators try to figure out what went wrong. It was early Saturday morning, just after midnight, that Chopper 11 dropped out of the sky, slamming into a plowed field in Wake County. Killed were pilot Jim Lane, engineer Rick Sherrill, and photographer Bart Smith. Miraculously, Tony Debo lived. Those of us who love Tony know he's a stubborn bulldog. That quality served him well early Saturday morning. He came to in a pool of cold jet fuel blood, then dragged his broken body toward a house nearly a mile away.
I remember going with no shoe, few clothes. My belt didn't snap off of the buckle. It snapped off somewhere else in the belt. And I could barely walk. But I wasn't going to stop. I wasn't going to stop until I got to the house.
He got there, but he revel in Tony's survival. Federal investigators are using Tony's recollection of the crash to figure out just what happened.
We'll tear down the engine in this case, especially since we have a witness that possibly thought of a power problem. So obviously this case.
FAA inspectors hope to have some answers before Christmas. But even after we know what ended Chopper 11's final flight, those of us who knew Bart, Rick, and Jim will still be asking, why? What's been really difficult, we'll all have to go back to work on Monday without 3 people we loved. All 3 men killed were engaged to be married. Photographer Bart Smith was big in stature and big in heart. At 6'6", Bart was always visible, but his smile stood out more than anything. Enjoyed shooting Friday night football around the state. He was 28. Funeral services for Bart are scheduled for tomorrow morning in Bristol, Tennessee. Engineer Rick Sherrill made our communication with you a lot easier. Rick was in charge of setting up our satellite and microwave vans in order for you to see the story. 3. His funeral is tomorrow at 1:30 in Monroe, North Carolina. Jim Lane was the pilot of the WTVD 11 News helicopter. He was known throughout the heart of Carolina simply as Chopper Jim. Chopper Jim would often help law officers in their search for missing persons. A Vietnam veteran, an extremely cautious pilot. He was 48. His funeral service is set for Wednesday morning at 11 at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on Six Forks Road in Raleigh. Now, Tony Debo continues to recover in Wake Medical Center tonight. He may be able to go home tomorrow morning. We'll make that decision after their morning rounds. Now, later in this newscast, we will have a more personal look at our friends so that you might know just a little bit more about 3 great guys.